Funny Navy story time. Let's talk about the people you really shouldn't piss off, shall we? Now, in any military branch, there's certain people in designations, rates, or doing jobs that you really shouldn't mess with because, simply put, they can fuck you over a lot harder than you can them. Just to name a few, the people who make your food, deliver your mail, handle and issue your gear, and the people who prep your paperwork. But early on in my career, I was buddies with a guy who was dating a yeoman. And if you know anything about the Navy, the yeomen are the designated paper pushers of the Navy. That is their only job. And she was pretty good at her job. She was actually pretty high up in the financial office on base. Pretty sure you can see where this is going because they eventually broke up, most of which on his part and kind of flippantly. And she didn't take it so well. After multiple fights, screaming matches, and calls to the security department to break it up, we thought everything was over and done with. However, a couple months later, my buddy checks his bank account after a payday and finds $37,000 in his bank account. We were like E2, E3 at the time, and there was no way on God's green earth that he was supposed to have gotten that money. But what do you do as a 20-something-year-old military member in a foreign country with $37,000 burning a hole in your bank account? Yeah, he did what pretty much anyone else would do and went on a spending spree. He bought multiple gaming systems and TVs for his closest friends. Every club and bar in the local area knew him on a first-name basis. And he climbed Mount Fuji and went on a snowboarding trip. But then, poof, the money disappeared overnight. About half of which he had already spent, and he was left deficit about $20,000. After panicking for a couple days, he finally declared it to the command, and the financial office started an investigation, and he was brought up on charges of fraudulent use of government resources because he should have said sooner that he had this money. Financial office concluded their investigation and found that someone had put a 1 where there was supposed to be a 0 and accidentally gave him $37,000. And when they realized their mistake, whoosh, pulled it back. And he was still responsible for everything he had spent. In the end, I guess luckily for him, he wasn't court-martialed over this, but he was given 45-45, knocked down a rank, and put on restriction. And none of this can I actually pin on his ex. But it was a very interesting coincidence. And you know, us being very empathetic friends would always allow him to come over to the barracks when he was on restriction in X Division and play Xbox on our new TVs. And we'd always ask him before we used his suits to go out because it's not like he was taking anyone out on dates anyway. What stories like this do you have? Stitch a comment below. And have a nice day.